What's Hawk and Hawks? Welcome to JayhawkJukebox. I'm Hayden.
And I'm Andrew.
And we're going to be doing Song of the Week. So this week I chose Slippery People by Talking Heads.
And I chose Still Feel by Half Alive.
So what made you pick Still Feel? Because I really, really liked the vibe of that song overall.
So, a little backstory. Half Alive is a band that started in 2018. So they're
pretty recent, yeah.
Yeah. I found them not too long after that on YouTube. This was actually...
On YouTube?
Yeah, this was the first song I heard from them, Still Feel. And I really enjoyed it. I think the main reason I chose the song is just because being a newer band, not a lot of people know about them, so...
Kind of like we were talking about before the show, it's a little bit more of a kind of like a lo-fi, or it's got like a lo-fi and like indie undertones.
Yeah.
So they're, I don't want to say it, but they're kind of underground right now, it seems.
Yeah,
And I
definitely.
think they have quite a lot of potential for being that good right off the bat.
Yeah, I really enjoy this song. It was one of their first that they released, actually.
Was it a single or was it on a whole album?
It was on an album. It was the first of their debut album.
Oh, nice.
Anyway, one thing I really like about it is in their lyrics they have a lot of symbolism with life and death, the balance between that, which is kind of like an introduction to who they are. Cause
Well, still alive.
Yeah. Half Alive. That's
Makes
kind of
sense.
that's kind of the thing. But anyway, a little bit more about your song.
Well, so I chose Slippery People just because it's kind of a cool song. I like walking and listening to music. Whenever I listen to that song, I kind of just walk at the same exact speed. It's just something it does to me, I guess. But
I get that.
It has supposedly like religious undertones because that whole album is called Speaking in Tongues.
Okay.
And so, I mean, we're not going to open that can of worms right now, but it has quite a lot of symbolism in the lyrics. But what I really like is the chorus where it's a shout and response. Kind of goes back to like a feeling of older jazz and things like that, like those types of solos. It's kind of like an early funk buildup. And so that was Song of the Week. We are going to be talking about Run DMC with Monsieur Bond and I. So thank you.
You may not hear it at first, but it's there. Our chant, rising. On this summit, callings converge, voices unify into a chorus that sounds out for good, for greatness. Can you hear it?
How are we doing, Jayhawk community? I'm back. I'm Hayden.
I'm Graham.
And we are going to be talking about the Run DMC performance at Late Night in the Fog. So, Graham, I want to ask you right off the bat, what did you think of the overall performance?
I thought it was okay. It was definitely entertaining, but after like the scrimmage and after like so many hours there, I could see why so many people were walking out the door, especially at that moment when I think it was Reverend, I'm blanking on his name, had already performed like 2 or 3 songs and said, we're just getting started, and immediately a mass exodus.
Well, because they played, didn't they play, I think they played It's Tricky right at the beginning? Yeah, so everybody was there for It's Tricky. And I mean, good on them for delivering their most popular song right at the beginning. But I think they kind of killed their momentum. You know, they're older. What are they now, like 50 or something like that? I don't know if it's a Run DMC as much of it's maybe a jog, maybe just a brisk full walk. But you know, they're still kicking. For being 50, they performed pretty well, I thought. It's just, like you were saying, everybody was just tired. Like we just watched 4 hours or so of scrimmages. People were waiting outside in the sun all day. I mean, it's just.
Oh yeah, were you there when they started going around to the student section and talking to people? And that was really, well, not talking, but performing with their mic like up next to us. I know there was that security, but they went past them. It made it a little bit more immersive, honestly.
Really?
I mean, it's you're a little far away from them, and it's just a couple of guys. But yeah.
Wow, that's pretty bold to do to some rowdy college kids.
Oh my gosh.
You know,
yes.
I mean, because they're still pretty. I mean, they're pretty, I would think, A-list celebrities still. You know, like everybody knows Run DMC, so that's kind of a risk, I would think, going up to them and what'd they do, just like hand them a mic?
Oh, no, they went like up to the stands. How long were you there?
Oh Lord, I think when they did like the like DJ battle.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, that was really cool, but I left like right after that.
No, I see what you mean.
Yeah.
So yeah, their last song, I mean, it doesn't have the staying power that like It's Tricky does, at least with a college audience, but they did Walk This Way.
Oh, of course.
And that was a pretty good closer. It still wasn't the highlight of the show, but it was entertaining.
What do you think was their strongest and weakest part of the show?
I definitely think, like I said, that we're just getting started. That
Kind of killed the
kind of
vibe,
sucked.
you think?
The era, yeah. I thought the DJ battle was great. I thought it went a little long, but it was definitely a good break from their songs because, at least frankly, I think Run DMC has pretty repetitive tracks.
Yeah, I mean their flow is pretty consistent. I would say that. I think they have a lot. I think at their time they had a lot of really good ideas and they were very influential. But now, I mean, everybody's kind of refined what they tried to do. It seems. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So it's just like it just kind of gets old after a little bit. Respectfully, I mean, you gotta pay respect where respect's due. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean. I think I'm going to agree with you that the DJ battle was probably the highlight because that was really sick. Just seeing some dudes with turntables for the first time in like years. So, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for showing up. We're going to send it over to Nathan and Nathaniel on their album of the week.
For students searching for a way to stay active in an outdoorsy way, the City of Lawrence has bike trails running in every direction, and with the new bike share program, we can stay in shape as we tour the sights of our beautiful city. Clinton Lake is only a short 30-minute bike ride away from Daisy Hill and has the most incredible sunset location in all of Lawrence. Walking campus may give you the KU calves, but biking can give you the KU thighs. Bike Lawrence today.
Welcome back. I'm Nathan.
I'm Nathaniel.
And we're back with our Eagles discography. And today we have the fourth album, One of These Nights. So what were your first impressions?
This is actually, other than Hotel California, this is the one I probably listened to the most growing up. But I gotta admit, going back through this, I was not a fan of some of these filler tracks. There are some really good ones in here. I really like the instrumental, the Sorcerer's
Journey of the Sorcerer.
That one is really good. Mm-hmm. There are some other ones on here, especially on side 2 near the end, I'm just not a fan of, to be quite honest.
See, and I completely disagree with you. In my opinion, this is their best album. And I don't even think it's close. I really don't. I think this is... I truly think this is their magnum opus. I think this is their best whole piece of work, in my opinion, at least.
I'm not going to deny the songs that like people know, they are known for a reason because of how good they are and how well produced these songs are.
Yeah.
One of my favorite songs on here, which is Take It to the Limit. I used to hate this song because in 8th grade when I went to Cotillion, they played the song every time that you do a dance. And I just got sick of it. So I didn't listen to it for like 4 years or so. But after that, I really learned to appreciate that song and how well written it is.
Yeah.
It is one of their best songs in
I
the
mean,
whole discography.
If we're being honest, this is what really put the Eagles on the map. You know, everybody knew who they were in a sense after the first 3 albums, but this skyrocketed them to a whole nother level. You know, One of These Nights, Take It to the Limit, Lion Eyes, Hollywood Waltz, and everything on here really could be labeled as a hit, even though you would tend to disagree. So what was your favorite song?
Besides Take It to the Limit, I'm a huge fan of the guitar work on One of These Nights. I thought that was an okay song, you know, when I was first getting into like rock music, but I've really taken the time to appreciate how well done the guitar work on that song is. Honestly, I think that is probably some of the best instrumental work that they've done on any song. The guitar riff is just so powerful on that song. It really drives it forward.
I would totally agree. In my opinion, you know, everybody knows the hits off this album, but there are 3 songs on here that I think are some of the most underrated songs, not just by the Eagles, but really in the 70s. In my opinion, Hollywood Waltz is an incredibly underrated song.
I would agree with that. I hadn't heard that one in such a long time, and I would tend to agree that it's probably one of the better, lesser-known songs that they've had.
Yeah, and then After the Thrill Is Gone. After the Thrill Is Gone is probably one of actually my favorite Eagles songs. I don't know what it is about it, but I just love the way it's structured. It's one of my favorites. And then Journey of the Sorcerer, which it's funny how that came about, because when Bernie Len originally did it and came up with the concept, Don Henley and Glenn Frey hated it. They didn't want it on the album. They didn't think it had a place anywhere, partly because it's a complete instrumental. There's no singing, and it's, kind of bridges that rock and orchestra elements.
That kind of funny that you bring that up. I can already see the riff starting to form between Brian Henley, between Bernie, and those other guys.
That was a big part of Bernie eventually leaving after this album, was that disconnect between Henley and Frey and Len when it came to Journey of the Sorcerer, which I can understand because it's one of my favorite instrumental rock songs ever. I think it's incredibly well done. You have all the elements. You have orchestra elements, you have banjo, you have like regular rock, you have everything within this. I just think it's so well done. And then it was obviously used as the theme song for Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.
And that's the thing with this. Like, there are some songs in here that aren't written by Glenn or Don Henley, and they're really good. But I think we kind of, idolize those two as like, the main guys. And, maybe rightfully so, because they did write a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
But you got to take into account, these other guys are very talented, too.
Yeah, I mean,
I think we kind of discredit Bernie and Randy Meisner.
Yeah, I mean, Take It to the Limit was started by Randy Meisner. Was it helped perfected by Frey and Henley? Yes. But the beginnings of Take It to the Limit were from Randy Meisner, and I think that's a big reason why he was actually allowed to sing Take It to the Limit, which is still one of the most recognizable Eagles songs ever.
One of the most recognizable songs of the latter 20th century,
Yeah,
I'd say.
I would completely agree. So what would you rate this album?
Well, I did not like it as much as the other ones that I've heard so far. Not to say that it was bad at all, because it's still very good.
Yeah.
But, I was given Desperado the 10 and On the Border 9.5.
Yeah.
I'm going to probably have to narrow this one down to an 8. I do like it. It's just some of those filler songs don't do it for me sometimes.
Well, and, like I said at the beginning, in my opinion, this is by far the best Eagles album, so I kind of have to give it a 10 at that rate. So, but it's interesting because I've heard a lot of people that I've gotten into the Eagles eventually say that they think this is better than Hotel California, which I would agree with them.
Which, Hotel California is great.
Yeah.
But, as I've said before, that is not my favorite, because Desperado is actually my favorite, which still kind of under the radar album.
Yeah.
But we got 2 more Eagles albums to go. We will not be doing an Eagles review next week. We're gonna have, this is the first time that we will not be on a vinyl review on the show, actually. And then the next week, we're actually going to be doing an Alice Cooper album, which he's not the biggest fan of, but it's Halloween season, so we got to. It's the horror theme, fits the horror theme perfectly, but we will be back to finish this discography before the semester ends. I cannot wait to discuss Hotel California.
It'll be an interesting discussion for sure, because I have some opinions on Hotel California that may not be so popular. Not that it's bad, but I guess we'll have to see. We'll take one more break, and then we'll be back with This Week in History.
From adversity, we rose. We made history and became pioneers, voyagers, champions, Jayhawks. And when our chant rises, haunting and hallowed, Jayhawks are telling the world what's near. Victory.
Welcome back to This Week in History. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Ryan. In 1966, Pink Floyd played their first live show. They played at all Stens Hall in London. It would be another 3 years before the band would release their debut studio album.
In 1969, King Crimson released their debut studio album, In the Court of the Crimson King. It is considered to be one of the most influential progressive rock albums of all time.
Also in 1969, a DJ on Detroit radio station WKNR was told by a caller that if he played the Beatles' Strawberry Fields Forever, he would hear the phrase, "Paul is dead." This started a mainstream conspiracy that lasted for decades in the United States.
In 1971, Led Zeppelin II had reached 100 weeks on the UK albums chart. When the album was first released, it had 400,000 advanced orders.
In 1974, Ed Sullivan died. Sullivan was the host of his own television show, which aired Sundays on CBS. He introduced bands such as the Beatles and the Rolling Stones to the American music audience and drew over 73 million viewers during the show's lifespan.
In 1979, Joy Division released their debut single, Transmission, on the Factory label. It has been named as one of the most defining indie rock songs and listed in the NME's Top 50 Indie Anthems list.
In 2015, saxophonist Steve McKay died at 66. McKay is mainly known for his work with the Stooges on their 1970 album Funhouse. He also worked with several other groups, including Violent Femmes and Commander Cody.
That's all for this week in history. Be sure to tune in next week at 4 and follow our socials on Twitter at Jayhawk_Jukebox and our Instagram at JayhawkJukebox. Have a good evening.